Stay tuned for scenes from the next Dawson's Creek. Tonight on the WB Television Network. A day of detention leads to a game of truth or dare.
Out of all the guys at Cape Side, is Dawson the one you're most attracted to?
You're jealous of me because I got a better sex life than you.
Dawson, this is stupid. You don't have to do this.
I am so sick and tired of you copping this attitude with me.
All I've ever tried to do is be your friend.
Joey, I dare you to kiss on the lips of Dawson Leary.
Tonight, an all-new Dawson's Creek.
Hey guys, welcome to yet another watch along on Balloon Hit Productions. I'm your master of ceremonies as usual. My name is Marcelo Nestroza, and I'd like to welcome you to my watch along for Dawson's Creek Season 1, Episode 7, entitled Detention. All right, guys, this is the quote-unquote Breakfast Club episode of the first season of The Creek, and I love this episode because the sexual tensions in between Joey and Jen in this episode are amazing. And also because of everything that happened last episode, the tensions in between Dawson and Jen are at a high level too. And for good measure, there's this quote unquote mystery about how one of our main characters ended up in detention. So I'm so excited to watch this episode with you guys. And hopefully, if you're at home, you'll watch along with me. If you've never been here before, this is essentially how I do my watch alongs. In just a minute or so, I'm going to turn off my camera and then switch over to the streaming service where I'll be watching this episode tonight. For me, that's on American Hulu. So what I'll do once I switch over there, I will give you guys a countdown from 3. I'll go in 3, 2, 1. And when I say play, if you choose to watch along with me, on play is when you will press play on your copies at home. So we'll be all synced up to watch this episode together. All right, guys. So with any further ado, I'm going to turn off my camera now and switch over to American Hulu, where I'll be watching this episode tonight. So just give me a second here, guys, as I get all comfy. One second. Okay. In 3, 2, 1, play. Of course, here's the small recap from the last episode. And I think at this point, the Jen and Dawson relationship is on the fritz, so to speak, or it's kind of on the breaking point, and the sexual tension between Joey and Dawson is reaching a fever pitch, and it goes beyond a fever pitch in this episode. I love the ET doll in between the two of them. Also, I love the subtext of what they're talking about here, because the subtext of what they're talking about here is what is happening in the background of the series between Joey and Jen. And I really, really love how Dawson says that is unrealistic and that is not true to life when that is exactly what is happening in the timeline of the show. And in the situation that they're gonna get put in this episode, that that situation, comes to a head, basically. Mhm. Pony arms. I also love how in this scene, Joey is a voice of reason to Dawson, trying to tell Dawson that that all of life isn't like the movies, and all of life isn't like a Norman Rockwell painting. I love how she tries to be the voice of reason. I mean, essentially, Joey is a voice of reason for most of the first season, but Joey is, you know, carrying a giant torch for Dawson, which we all know, but Dawson in season 1 is the biggest guy without a clue ever in the history of of teen romances in the late 90s. I think I think gu I think Jen at this point is gunshot because I think Jen knows in the back of her head that she can't hold a candle to Joey, and maybe that's why she's she's sort of hesitant to, you know, quote unquote "pop Dawson's cherry." I don't know, that's my thought. What do you guys think about that? You guys think I'm crazy? You know what? I probably am crazy, don't listen to me. You know, as I've been doing, this watch along for these episodes, I'm starting to actually like this song. I don't know what that says. Maybe that's like a maybe that's like a TV version of like, Stockholm Syndrome? Yeah, I love the '90s music. Oh my god. Abby! Of course, if you've seen the series, you know what happens to poor Abby, which is well, if you're watching this, you totally should have seen the series, by now. You know, also, I like the school report that Joey is giving because the school report is all about how the school report that she's giving is basically saying that, you know, throughout history, men have had power over women, and this guy is an asshole who's the jock, this guy, correct, that's his name. Oh my god, they're talking about Shogun, and depending on when you're watching this, Shogun, season 1 just came out on, on Hulu or Hulu via FX, I should say. Of course, I love this because Dawson's insecurities are popping up now. You know what? I really identify with Dawson in this moment of him being called an Oompa Loompa because there is a name that when I was a kid, my family used to call me, and those people around me who knew me really well called me also, and I fucking hate that name. So I could definitely relate to Dawson not being wanting Dawson uh, not I could totally relate to Dawson not wanting to be called Oompa Loompa because of the quote unquote "dramatic memory" that brings up from childhood. Because I still have that to this day over the name that my family and my close friends used to call me back in the day. He's pushing it. Of course, his anger towards Pacey his anger with Pacey calling him Oompa Loompa is sort of misdirected anger because I think he's frustrated with his relationship with Jen sort of being on the fringes of breaking up, and this Oompa Loompa shit sort of took his anger towards his relationship with Jen and transferred it over to Pacey calling him an Oompa Loompa. So it's very, very, very good, writing on, the writer's part who wrote this episode, 'cause he's 'cause he's actually shifting around Dawson's true anger, and he's playing around with it. I also really like the scene because of the moral implications that it brings up between Jen being an atheist like myself and this dick ass teacher who is a deeply religious man and who can't respect Jen's opinion about what she says. See, bingo. Euthanasia. Yeah, I really, really like Jen trying to show her point of view against this deeply religious teacher who's not willing to accept her point of view. And because he can't, she's about to end up in a very, very interesting situation. But as a fellow atheist, and if I had a terminal disease, I would, at one point, if it was incurable, want to be allowed to die peacefully. So, in other words, in other words, I support, um, self-termination in in a terminal situation, or euthanasia, I should say. What a dick. God bless this actor, but this character is about to get a smack. With Oof. Yeah. Yeah, baby. That's my girl. That is my girl. Also, the special effect in the scene is really, really great. And I saw, a a TikTok video from a prop master explaining how they could have done this trick, and it was just fascinating how, prop masters do how it's fascinating to me how prop masters rig, props for actors to play with in scenes. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's going to, come into play in just a second. And that's the final straw. Oh, shit. That's gonna hurt. See what's happening here, guys? Jen is in detention. Dawson is in detention. Of course, why did I just point it out? We're watching an episode called Detention. I have no idea why I pointed it out. It just blurted out, guys. I'm sorry. Not really. He's not a Dawson isn't the Casanova that he thinks he is. The he is not the romantic lead that he thinks he is in his own head. And it's really taken me a lot of rewatches to get there or to understand that. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that he is a hopeless romantic. He is a hopeless romantic that can't get control of his uh that can't get control of his romantic emotions all the time. And his insecurities towards Jen uh the second half of the season now really, really display that he's not fully able to get control of his romantic emotions because of his insecurities. That is Abby Morgan. Abby Morgan helping out invalids. I don't see that. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see Abby Morgan helping the community? Helping helping our fellow man? No, I just can't. Also, I don't think I've mentioned this in the his so far in, this watch along series that I'm doing. I love the fashion of late '90s TV. I mean, shell shock, it's me, I love everything late '90s, early '90s, the 2000s, so that's no shock. What a twat. Also, I love that there is, like, this mystery around why Pacey ended up in detention in the first place if he's the one that got assaulted by Dawson rearranging his nose with a fucking basketball. So, I love the way that the writer sort of introduces that little mystery, to the group in detention, because, again, it doesn't make sense that the guy that got assaulted ends up in detention. How does that happen? Is it just me, or do you guys think that this episode Is it just me, or do you guys think that this episode should have been called Truth or Dare? Because on the DVDs, it's called something else, so of which I can't remember, so, yeah. Also, I really, really love the passive aggressive comments this entire season by Joey and Jen, but like I said previously in other episodes, I love how the writers have slowly made them realize that they have more in common than they do apart, and that thing that's more in common is that they're both infatuated with the same guy who kinda doesn't have a clue about one of them, and I'm not gonna spell who that person is because if you don't know who that person is, you haven't been paying attention this whole time. Violent offenders, my ass. Bunch of bullshit. No way. She did not. Oh, wow, wait a minute. I just thought of it. In this situation, Abby Morgan is the goth girl from John Hughes' The Breakfast Club. So, what? I don't know. Well, I don't know where that see, also, I really love how, Dawson referenced the movie that the show is paying tribute to. Tringle. Is it just me, or does Mrs. Tringle sound oddly similar to Mrs. Tingle? And if you guys kind of get where I'm going, brownie points for you. I did too, Abby. You might be on to you might be onto something there, girlfriend, definitely. I'm sorry, pin the tail on the whole dog. Pin the tail on the whole back. Also, guys, this is the scene of the entire episode for me. Look, I've said it multiple times. I've really learned to appreciate Pacey and Joey as I've gotten older, but in my heart of deepest hearts, I will always be a Joey and Dawson guy, and season 1 is all about Joey and Dawson, and this scene that's being constructed here wonderfully by the writer leads to one of the best moments in season 1, and the way that Joey acts after it happens, it's amazing. Also it's really, really great how the writer is still sort of trying to hide the real reason why Pacey is in, detention. He's trying to, sort of dance around it. So, it's probably acute to the audience that it is embarrassing. Also, I really love that look there by Pacey, like, giving him one more final dig is like, "Ooh, I don't care, but I'm sucking face with your girlfriend at the moment." So he's like, "Suck it, dude." Although he may not be saying that, but I still love that. I still love that look by, Pacey there. Who do you like? Ho, 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 ho. They're not wimps. Holy shit. Here it comes, guys. The moment. The moment. And I really love how Joey and Dawson sort of play it off here, but the second they lock, you're like, oh my god, these people have so much good chemistry. Great music choice as well. Come on. Look at that. It's beautiful. And he knows it. Abby knows it, and I think Jen knows it too subconsciously. I am. Are you guys having fun? Oh, burn. No, you don't. It's in your face, sweetheart. You don't lust for Dawson. She's not dwelling with it. Well, dwell, I think, is a strong dwell wouldn't be the right word. I think she is sort of I think Joey is sort of, uh, giving herself little Chinese cuts with the relationship between Dawson and Jen. What do you guys think? I had a friend in high school who did this. Don't make me ill. That's not it? Ooh, that's not what this is about. Isn't it so typical that, of course, the film nerd can't play basketball? Oh, like, girls don't do the same thing? I think, I think Abby beat me to it there. No, maybe that's the problem. Yeah, Abigail just said what the entire audience was probably thinking during season 1 of Dawson's Creek. How can you understand? I love this scene. Here we go. Breakfast Club. Tip of the cap right there. That was too. I love that pushing by the director there. Now, for you young kids who may not have been around in the late '90s, early 2000s, when we had homework assignments, we used to have to go to this place called the library, and in the library, they had this thing called indexes, and when you wanted to find a book, you had to go to the index, pull out the drawer, and physically find the book physically find the book that you were looking for on these cards. So, uh, if you're going to high school today, you have it too easy, man. I mean, come on. Are there still libraries in schools? I have no idea. I'm old, guys. But this totally brings back memories because the library in my high school had like 2 indexes for all the books that they had. Also, this is a great moment because, the moment that's coming up here, Joey's feelings are really, laid bare on the ground, basically in front of everybody to finally to just, she basically cuts herself wide open, and she bleeds in front of everybody emotionally. Home sweet home, everybody. Also, I really, really love how the writer, gave Abigail this really, really outrageous reason why she ended up in detention, and we find out now that the reason that she ended up in detention was because of excessive tardies. It's like such an Abigail thing to do. Of course, this is one of the most tragic characters in the whole show, and of course, this is the payoff of all the setup of how the hell did the guy that got assaulted with a basketball to the face end up in detention himself? No. Mm-mm. Oh, come on. Come on, Dawson. You're totally being insecure in this. You are totally being insecure in this moment, kiddo. I was talking about how Joey's gonna bear her feelings raw on the floor here, but I really like how Dawson is sort of doing that first, and he is emotionally opening up in this moment. Uh-huh. In the comments, what's the most embarrassing story that you ever heard, or what's the most embarrassing high school memory that you have? If you're brave enough to tell me, or if anybody's brave enough to comment on this video, which is probably nobody, because nobody ever comments on my videos except for one person. Why? Also, this is a really good character arc for Dawson in this episode because the whole episode he's being insecure, but in this moment, he basically he basically admits that he's being insecure. And sometimes sometimes when a guy is with somebody who is way above their station, their insecurities can ruin their relationship before it even begins because that guy can never really fully understand that the hot isn't with him because of feeling guilty about him, because of guilt or pity. The hot girl is with him because she actually loves him, but sometimes a guy's insecurity just gets in the way, and the guy can't get over that, and that's what Dawson was dealing with was dealing with in this episode, and I really love how the writers slowly set that up. He they misled they totally redirected Dawson's anger towards Pacey, and now Jen is having a eureka moment that is also really, uh, um, you know, genius and smart and really thoughtful on the writer's part that they give this giant, emotional arc for Dawson in this episode, but underneath that, Jen has her own stuff cooking. So it is really balanced, wonderful writing by, by the Cape Side, team who wrote, the 1st season here. Come to think of it, everybody opens up their heart and lays on the floor in this scene, not just the girl that we're waiting for, her. It's not about sex. She's talking about sex, but that's not what she's really talking about. You guys gotta read between the lines. Yes, you do. Mm-mm. No, she can't. Not at least for another couple weeks. So so agonizing. Mm. Oh, yeah. This will. No. Her being free is a problem because if she says what she wants to say now, she'll blow up everything, and she just said it there, if she says it, she can never take it back. And again, like I said at the beginning of this episode, Dawson is the most oblivious leading man in the first season of any show ever, because everybody knows it, but everybody knows who Joey wants except for him. He's the most oblivious asshole ever. Or not an asshole, that was the, wrong word. Dawson is the most oblivious teen leading man in history ever. I mean, come on, but again, guys, that's good writing, so, yeah, take it to the bank with that. Alright, guys, that'll do it for my watch along of Dawson's Creek Season 1, Episode 7, entitled Detention. In the comments below, tell me what you liked about this episode or tell me what you didn't like about this episode. But if you guys liked my amusing ramblings about this episode and you want to hear me talk more, I do have a podcast called the Mixtape Podcast where I discuss film from a screenplay writer's perspective with a very, very good friend of mine. So we are on YouTube. We are at youtube.com/the mixtape podcast. I keep meaning to put that down in the descriptions. I keep meaning to put that down in the description of these videos. I will finally do that. But if you're not a YouTube person, we are on all major podcast platforms on the planet. So if you like hearing me ramble on about useless things, if you like hearing me ramble on and you would love to hear me talk about film from a writer's perspective, I urge you to go and check that out. But that's it. That's it for now from me to you. And as I say often, until next time, I'll see you when I see you.
So much happened here, and so much is about to.